What's up, everyone? This is episode 2 of how to hike the Backbone Trail in the Santa Monica Mountains. We'll be starting at the Fossil Ridge Trailhead and working our way down to the trailhead at the Stunt Road connector. As you can see, you can park pretty close to the Fossil Ridge Trailhead on Saddle Peak Road. Then, in a matter of minutes, you're on the trail overlooking Hondo Canyon. And then the trail skirts under a large radio tower on the ridge above. Finally, we get to see some ocean views. Looks a bit cloudy down there, but you can see hints of Catalina Island in the distance. These next several miles on the trail are all about the trail's interaction with the large conglomerate sandstone rocks that are featured in the Santa Monica Mountains. And over the next several minutes of the trail, we'll be able to see some posh multi-million-dollar homes that kind of dot this Mediterranean countryside. But we'll also be able to see some natural landscape. Here we can see some better views of Catalina Island, though it's still a bit cloudy. And the best part about hiking Southern California in the wintertime is the plants think it's actually spring, and we get to enjoy some bright, almost fluorescent greenery via the newly minted chlorophyll in the grass. Here we are on the last leg of the Fossil Ridge Trail. It's a pretty short trail, and it descends down onto a concrete road called the Topanga Lookout Trail. We'll just be on that for a matter of a minute, but let's recap what we've done so far. Again, you can park your car at this little pullout on Saddle Peak Road, and with just a few steps you can access the trailhead. I've marked the trail in Google Earth in red, but let's zoom out a little bit so we can see if we can see it a bit better. As you can see, the trail skirts along underneath the ridge and is kind of sandwiched between that and Saddle Peak Road. And you don't really experience any dramatic rise or fall in elevation. It's mostly just flat hiking at this point. And you can see now on the screen the end of the trail and the connection onto the Topanga Lookout Trail. Up this way you can actually hike out to the Topanga Lookout, which kind of looks over Topanga Canyon, but we're going to go the opposite direction so we can connect with Saddle Peak Trail. There was an interesting memoriam on the side of the trail. I'm not sure what it's all about, but if you know, you're welcome to comment below and let us know. Here we are at the Topanga Lookout Trailhead. Right after such, there's a small parking lot with an overlook. The most prominent peak out that way is the Calabasas Peak. That one's hikeable too. There's a trailhead on the road that you can barely see out in the distance. There's a Mountains Restoration Trust placard to check out, but really our goal is to come down to the fork in the road and get back on the trail. It's a little steep and awkward getting back on the trail here. I wouldn't want to be through hiking this with a 30-pound pack at this point. Here's what it looks like after you accomplish that mini scramble. And as you proceed, you should come across this concrete pad. Then our next immediate goal is to walk up towards the water tower. Again, you'll see some interesting rocks along the way. And some more posh housing, whether it be residential or otherwise. Note the interesting strata lines in the rock to the right of the trail here. And the Backbone Trail is not only about passing big rocks, but passing big water towers. There's a sign here that tells you it's okay to walk up the road and be beside the water tower. As we've done a little climbing, our vantage has improved. And we also have an improved look at our water tower. I don't know what it is about the Backbone Trail. Seems like we're always walking past water towers. And as we climb up a little bit more, we have a nice flat patch of grass. Looks like a nice place to unofficially camp if you had to. Be sure to reference your Gaia GPS map. At this point, it's a little confusing as to where the trail goes. And though I think I was a little bit off the trail here, I did get a good shot of the water tower and that little patch of grass again. And once I found the trail, I proceeded through this wooded area, and though it doesn't seem like it, I'm actually at the top of one of the major passes on the Backbone Trail. I'm actually going over Saddle Peak right here. Passing Saddle Peak, there's some Backbone Trail signage. And the furthest one in this shot lets us know that we'll be descending for the next 4.2 miles down to Puma Road. But a lot of that will actually be on episode 3. The most profound and breathtaking moments on this section of trail come when you descend down into this giant rock garden. With their golden and caramel hues, they stand out as these great works of art, sculpted by the attrition of the wind and the slow rolling mechanics of the local mountain geology. Be sure to slow down and take it all in at this point, because this is one of the most interesting and beautiful parts along this 67-mile Backbone Trail. And it's not like you're just observing these rocks from a pebbles toss. You're actually walking through the middle of their grounds and are able to touch their walls and note the slight change in acoustics of your voice as you pass through them. Once you are through the rock garden, you descend down into some unremarkable chaparral and tackle a series of switchbacks until you meet a similar altitude on the mountain as is the close by stunt road. This chamise seems to be the dominant feature on this area of trail. However, this is the end of this section of the hike, and we'll be tackling the next section here on episode 3, but we can at least walk out to Stunt Road and take one more look at the Calabasas Peak in the distance. So for our recap, we started on the paved Topanga Lookout Trail, and we walked up to the small parking lot which had the overlook in which we could see the Calabasas Peak in the background. Then we met the Saddle Peak Trail that started at the fork in the road and had the steep on-ramp. Then we shortly stepped onto that concrete pad that had a little bit of residual water in its crease. and we did a little bit of climbing until we reached the area that had the water tower. We then checked out that grassy knoll right above it, and then skirted below the Saddle Peak ridgeline until we met the highest point on the pass. Once past the pass, we then walked down and met the rock garden. We hung out there for a moment and took some pictures, and if you notice on Google Earth, Point Doom is actually in the background there. And from a bird's eye vantage, you can see how we went through the rock garden and how we went through the switchbacks in the chaparral to get down to the stunt road connector. Right in this area is where I filmed the chemise close-up, and shortly thereafter there was the Saddle Peak sign and the connection back to Stunt Road. If I resituate the Google Earth map here, you'll be able to see the mountains I was looking at in the last shot. And here you can see the Calabasas Peak and part of the trail on the mountain. Well, that's it for now, guys. Check out the Camp Hike Live California website for a Gaia GPS file of this hike. Link in the description below. Okay, we'll see you on the next one.